Hey there, coin enthusiasts! Welcome back to channel where we dive deep into the world of numismatics. Today we're talking about a classic American coin that's been in countless pockets, purses, and piggy banks, the 1961 USA 1-cent coin, also known as the Lincoln Memorial Penny. If you've got one in your collection, or just found one in your change, you might be wondering, does it hold any special value? To understand the value of a 1961 penny, let's start with a bit of history. These coins were produced at two major mints in 1961 Philadelphia and Denver. The 1961 penny marks part of the long-running Lincoln Memorial Penny series, which ran from 1959 until 2008. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the obverse side features Abraham Lincoln, while the reverse side, designed by Frank Gasparo, displays the Lincoln Memorial. Now, 1961 was a big year for the U.S. Mint. They produced over 2.3 billion pennies between the two mints, so these coins aren't exactly rare in terms of mintage numbers. However, that doesn't mean some 1961 pennies don't hold more value than others. Now, let's talk about value. For most circulated 1961 pennies, the value is pretty close to their face value of 1 cent. That's largely because of the high number of minted and the fact that most of these coins have been well circulated. In average condition, a circulated 1961 penny from either the Philadelphia or Denver mint will usually be worth about 1 to 2 cents, basically its copper value. But here's where it gets interesting. Because of its age and material, some of these pennies have a bit of added value due to the copper content. That's right. Pennies minted before 1982, including the 1961 penny, were made from 95% copper. With today's metal prices, the melt value of the copper in a 1961 penny is actually worth more than a penny, about 2 cents. But keep in mind, melting down pennies is illegal in the United States. So while you can't legally cash in on that copper, it does add a little intrinsic value to the coin. Now, let's talk about what can actually make a circulated 1961 penny worth more than just face or melt value. There are three main factors to consider: the mint mark, the condition, and any errors or varieties. 1961 pennies were minted at Philadelphia and Denver. As we mentioned, Philadelphia coins don't have a mint mark, while Denver coins do carry a small D below the date. Generally, neither mint mark has a huge impact on value for circulated coins, but Denver. First, let's step back a bit to understand the origins of the Lincoln penny itself. The penny bearing Lincoln's image was first minted in 1909 to commemorate the centennial of Abraham Lincoln's birth. It was the first U.S. coin to feature an actual historical figure, and it marked a big shift from earlier coin designs that mostly used allegorical representations of liberty. In 1959, to celebrate the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. The reverse side of the penny was updated from the original wheat ears to the Lincoln Memorial design, honoring one of the most iconic monuments in Washington, D.C. This is the design that was on the 1961 penny, which is why it's known as the Lincoln Memorial cent. Now, let's go back to 1961, a year when America was full of change and momentum. John F. Kennedy had just been inaugurated as president, inspiring the country with his vision for a new frontier. The civil rights movement was gaining traction, and the space race was heating up. Amid all this, a simple penny was circulating, quietly connecting people through everyday transactions. In 1961, the U.S. Mint was in high production mode, and the Lincoln penny was one of the most commonly produced coins. Even though most circulated 1961 pennies are worth around 1 to 2 cents, a penny in exceptionally high grade or nearly uncirculated condition can fetch a bit more, up to about $0.10 to $0.20. Grading is key here. The less wear on the coin, the more value it can hold. Last but not least, errors and varieties can add significant value to a 1961 penny. A few notable varieties to watch for are double die errors. These happen when parts of the design, like the date or the "In God We Trust" motto, are accidentally stamped twice, creating a doubling effect. Depending on the visibility and location of the doubling, these error coins can be worth a few dollars, even in circulated condition. So, always keep an eye out for unusual features on any vintage penny you come across. To sum up, while most circulated 1961 pennies are worth about 1 to 2 cents, certain factors like condition, mint errors, and high-grade preservation can raise the value a bit. If you enjoy collecting pennies, they're a fun and accessible way to build up a collection without a big investment. That year alone, the Philadelphia and Denver mints produced over 2.3 billion pennies combined. The Philadelphia mint, which was the original U.S. mint, didn't use mint marks, while coins from the Denver mint bore a small D below the date. While these pennies were inexpensive and easy to produce, they were also incredibly durable. Many of them are still around today. By 1961, the design on the Lincoln penny had become a classic. The obverse side, designed by Victor David Brenner in 1909, remained the same, with Lincoln's profile based on a famous portrait by artist Matthew Brady. The reverse side, designed by Frank Gasparo, featured the Lincoln Memorial, symbolizing unity and Lincoln's role in keeping the nation together during the Civil War. One of the unique features of the 1961 penny is its composition. Before 1982, pennies were made primarily from copper minus 95% copper to be exact, with a small amount of tin and zinc. This copper content means each penny weighs around 3.11 grams compared to the lighter copper-plated zinc pennies we use today. While the 1961 penny was a high mintage coin, it holds a unique place in history, particularly for collectors. For most circulated 1961 pennies. 1992 USA 1-cent coins. You might think these little pennies aren't worth more than a cent, but some of them could surprise you. If you're curious about coin collecting, or just wondering if that old penny you have is worth anything, stick around. Let's explore what makes these coins unique, how to identify valuable ones, and the current circulated value of 1992 pennies. To understand the value of a 1992 penny, let's start with a little history. The iconic Lincoln cent design was first introduced in 1909, celebrating Abraham Lincoln's 100th birthday. The penny has seen a few changes over the years, but the general design featuring Lincoln's profile on the obverse, or front, has stayed mostly the same. By 1992, the reverse side still displayed the Lincoln Memorial, a design introduced in 1959. Now, not all 1992 pennies are created equal. One major difference lies in the mint marks, which indicate where the coin was produced. 1992 pennies can have either a D mint mark for Denver or no mint mark at all, indicating they were minted in Philadelphia. There are also two special variations of the 1992 penny, known as the 1992 close AM and wide AM pennies. On the reverse side of the penny, if you look at the A and M in America, you'll notice they're either close together or spaced further apart. The close AM variety is much rarer and can fetch a significantly higher price among collectors. The circulated value of a 1992 penny mostly depends on its condition. In coin collecting, condition is everything. Pennies in excellent condition, also known as mint state, will naturally fetch higher prices. But for pennies that have been circulated or show signs of wear, their value tends to stay close to face value, around 1 to 2 cents. For a circulated 1992 penny, you're likely looking at a value of 1 cent unless there's something special about the coin. But if it's a 1992 close AM penny in great condition, it could be worth anywhere from $20 to $100 depending on the grade. Uncirculated ones can go even higher. If you're curious whether your penny is one of these valuable close AM varieties, grab a magnifying glass. Look closely at the AM in America. In the close AM variety, the letters are nearly touching, while in the wide AM version there's a noticeable gap. Another detail to look out for is the spacing in the FG initials, found near the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse side. In the close AM version, these initials are slightly closer to the building. Alright, let's talk numbers. How much could you actually get for a 1992 close AM penny? In circulated condition, it could range from $20 to $50, while uncirculated versions can go up to a few $100s. The average 1992 penny, without these rare features, still generally stays around face value, so it's these small details that can really boost the value. If you're looking to sell your 1992 close AM penny, consider taking it to a local coin dealer or a certified grading service. This can help establish its value and attract serious collectors. You can also sell on online marketplaces, but be sure to provide high-quality images and descriptions if you go this route. To sum up, while most 1992 pennies are worth only their face value, there are some exceptions. Keep an eye out for that close AM variety, as it could be worth much more. If you have a 1992 penny in pristine condition, it might also carry a slight premium. As always, when it comes to coin collecting, knowledge is power, and sometimes that penny in your pocket could be worth a whole lot more. Featuring Lincoln on one side and the Lincoln Memorial on the other, lasted from 1959 all the way until 2008. This was the design on the 1992 penny, with Lincoln's profile on the obverse side and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. If you look closely at the memorial design, you can even see a tiny depiction of Lincoln seated inside, a subtle detail that collectors love. But what makes the 1992 penny particularly interesting is a rare error that wasn't discovered until much later: the close AM variation. In 1992, the U.S. Mint accidentally produced a small number of pennies with the letters A and M in America too close together on the reverse side. This error, known as the close AM variety, was supposed to be for proof coins only those specially struck for collectors. However, some circulated pennies with the close AM accidentally escaped into circulation. These are extremely rare and are highly valued by collectors. So, why are 1992 pennies still interesting to collectors? For one, they represent the last full decade of the Lincoln Memorial design, which ended in 2008. The 1992 close AM error is particularly rare, with estimates of only a few thousand existing. As a result, these coins have become coveted treasures for 1994 USA 1-cent coin. You might be surprised to learn that some pennies, even ones from the 90s, could be worth more than just a cent. So why talk about a 1-cent coin from 1994? It's a year that's somewhat modern, right? Well, even though this penny might seem recent, its age and history are actually more intriguing than you'd think. We'll go over its background, what makes it special, and how you can determine if a 1994 penny might be worth more than just a cent. Let's start with a bit of history. The 1994 penny features the classic design by Victor David Brenner with Abraham Lincoln's profile on the front. This iconic portrait has been in circulation since 1909, making it one of the longest-running coin designs in U.S. history. On the reverse side, you'll find the Lincoln Memorial design added in 1959 to celebrate Lincoln's 150th birthday. This design stayed until 2008, so the 1994 penny falls right within that era. The 1994 penny is made of a core of zinc coated with a thin layer of copper, which has been the composition since 1982 due to the rising cost of copper. It weighs 2.5 grams and has a diameter of 19.05 millimeters. Since it was minted in both Philadelphia and Denver, you can tell which mint it came from by Philadelphia. Now, let's talk about value. A circulated 1994 penny typically won't be worth more than its face value of 1 cent. That's because, as with most modern pennies, millions were produced, around 6.5 billion from the Philadelphia Mint and another 7.1 billion from the Denver Mint. So they're not rare, and circulated coins with wear and tear don't usually attract a premium. However, if you find one in excellent condition, such as a mint state or uncirculated coin, it might be worth slightly more to collectors. When it comes to coins, condition is everything. Coins in mint state condition, meaning they haven't been circulated, can fetch a premium. A high-grade 1994 penny, graded by the Professional Coin Grading Service (PCGS) or Numismatic Guarantee Corporation (NGC), might be worth around 25 cents to $1 depending on the grade. But for a circulated penny with scratches, dirt, or discoloration, it's probably going to be worth exactly 1 cent. Here's where things get exciting. Some 1994 pennies with errors or unusual variations can actually be worth quite a bit more. Let's go over a few you might want to watch out for. One of the most sought-after errors is the doubled die, where part of the design appears to be doubled. The doubling on the date or letters, you could have an error coin worth several dollars. If the coin wasn't struck exactly in the center, it's known as an off-center strike. While minor off-centers aren't worth much, extreme ones like 50% off-center could be worth around $10 or more. Sometimes, the minting die can crack, leaving raised lines or blobs on the coin. These small errors might not be as valuable as others, but they're still fun to find and could add a few extra cents to the coin's worth. To sum up, if you're sorting through your pocket change or inherited a coin collection, here are a few tips on spotting value in your 1994 pennies. Look for pennies in pristine condition. The less wear, the better. Keep an eye out for any errors or odd-looking coins, as these can bring a premium. So, while your average 1994 penny may only be worth 1 cent, certain high-quality or error coins could be worth much more. Next time you come across a penny, give it a closer look. You never know what hidden treasure you might find. The Lincoln cent has a rich history that goes back over a century. It was first introduced in 1909 to mark the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, making first U.S. coin to feature a real person. American coins traditionally bore symbolic representations of liberty, but Lincoln's portrait marked a shift. This decision was made by President Theodore Roosevelt, who wanted American coinage to be more artistic and inspiring. The designer of the Lincoln cent was a Lithuanian immigrant and artist named Victor David Brenner. Brenner was chosen by Roosevelt himself, who admired Brenner's work on a Lincoln plaque. The portrait we see on today's penny is still Brenner's design. His initials, VDB, were placed on the coin initially, but were removed due to public backlash, as people thought they were too prominent. However, they were reinstated in a smaller size on the lower edge of the bust in 1918. From 1909 to 1958, the Lincoln cent's reverse side featured the famous wheat design, with 2 ears of wheat encircling the words 1 cent and United States of America in 1959. To celebrate Lincoln's 150th birthday, the reverse was redesigned to show the Lincoln Memorial. This was significant because it made the penny one of the few coins to depict the same person on both sides. If you look closely, you can even see a tiny image of Lincoln seated in the memorial. Fast forward to 1982, a big year for the Lincoln cent. Each coin now has a zinc core and a thin copper coating, which gives it the same appearance but at a fraction of the cost. This new composition weighs 2.5 grams, compared to the previous copper version, which weighed 3.11 grams. The 1994 penny was minted in 2 locations, Philadelphia and Denver. Together, they produced nearly 13.6 billion pennies that year, 6.5 billion from Philadelphia and 7.1 billion from Denver. This high mintage reflects the coin's role in everyday commerce, as the penny was still widely used for transactions and change. Despite debates about discontinuing the penny, the mint continued producing millions each year due to its demand and cultural value. In the 1990s, the penny was a staple in American life. You'd find them in cash registers, vending machines, and even payphones. People used pennies for everything from tipping jars to penny slots, and they were an essential part of daily transactions. The penny's prevalence even led to debates about whether it was still economical for the mint to produce them, but their sentimental and practical value kept them in circulation. Abraham Lincoln is one of the most honored presidents in American history, and the Lincoln cent symbolizes his legacy of unity and